Hello to everyone and welcome to a Khan Academy tutorial on visually adding and subtracting fractions. Let's go ahead and get started here. We're tasked with adding 1/4 plus 1/3. Here we have a visual representation of that. Now, I'm going to be honest, this first one is kind of a bad one to start on because it doesn't really help us visually that much, but let me show you kind of what we're going for. As you can see here, if we're trying to add these two together, that means we're going to try to add this pink one over here somewhere, but this 1/3 goes somewhere like that. So it's tough to compare when we don't have the same denominator. Here we have a denominator 3, here we have a denominator of 4. So it's tough to compare when they're unlike denominators. So our first step should probably be to redraw both of these little squares so that they have the same denominator. Now, how do we do that? Well, we have to essentially chop these up into smaller bits. Okay, so we have to chop these up. Instead of 4 per bar, we need a little bit more than that. And then instead of 3 per bar, we need a little bit more than that. Because we want these little slices to be the same. Because one is fourths and one is thirds, we can't just add fourths and thirds together to get the same thing, because they're two different things. So how do we do that? Well, we have to find a number that both 4 and 3 are factors of. Essentially what we're trying to find is the least common multiple. The least common multiple is another way of saying the smallest number that both 4 and 3 are factors of. Now, we could list all the factors. This is a great strategy to use if you're just starting out on this. We can list all the factors of 3. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Sorry, I ran out of room there. And then we can do the same thing with 4. So 4 is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Now, as you can see, we have two that match. We have 12. Both of these are factors of, both 3 and 4 are factors of 12, because you see that we have 12 here listed as a multiple of 3 and 4, and also 24. But when we're talking about the least common multiple, we're trying to consider the smallest. The reason why we go with the smallest is because it's less work. You wouldn't be wrong with choosing a common denominator 24, but imagine trying to write all these little slices, 24 slices as opposed to 12 slices. It's a lot easier to do smaller numbers. So that's why least common multiple is important, but you just have a little bit more work with 24, but it wouldn't be wrong. Okay, so we're going to choose 12 as our least common multiple. What does that mean? That means we're going to chop this up into 12 slices. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Same thing on this side. Trying to get it to match up. Sorry, it's not perfectly divided, but it's pretty close. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, well, this 1/4, okay, 1/4 of 12. Let me go over here. 1/4, and we want this to be 12ths. Okay, we want to change this 1/4 to have 12 divisions instead of just 4 divisions. So how do we do that? Well, what we have to do is we see, okay, instead of having 4 divisions, I multiplied that by 3. There's 3 times as many divisions. Okay, you don't want to consider addition here. You want to think of, okay, what are the multiples? We're thinking about multiples, least common multiples. So we want to say 4 multiplied by what gives me 12, and it's 3. So we have 3 out of 12, because what you do to the bottom, you also have to do to the top. So we multiply by 3 to the bottom, we also have to multiply by 3 to the top. So 1/4 is the same thing as 3/12. So we're going to color in 3 of these slices, and that's the equivalent of 1/4. Okay? First step done. Now we had 1/3. So 1/3 was this pink color. I'm just going to call it red. So we had 1/3. Okay, arrow, and then we wanted this to be 12ths also. Now, what did we do to get those 12ths? Well, we multiplied by 4. Okay, we had 4 times as many bars. Instead of 3 bars, we had 12 bars, so that's times by 4. Least common multiple, multiply the top and bottom by the same thing to keep it equivalent. So we have 4/12. 4/12 is the same thing as 1/3. 3/12 is the same thing as 1/4. So I'm going to color in 4 of these bars. And we can see that we basically get to the same, I mean, my lines aren't perfect, but we basically got to the same spots with these, this 1/3 and this 1/4. Okay, we basically got to the same spots. So now it's much easier to combine these because they're the same units. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this one and move it to the top so you can see how many 12ths in total. 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 4 total. And now I can count, okay, how many total 12ths did I have? Well, if I'm adding these, I have 1, 2, 3 in red, 4 in purple. So I have 7 out of the total, which is 12. So 7 12ths. Okay, and how did I do that over here? Well, I just had 3 over 12 plus 4 over 12. You keep the denominator the same, 12, and you add the top. 3 plus 4 equals 7. So 7 over 12 is my answer to this. 7 over 12. Okay, next question. Here we have 1/6 plus 2/3. This one's going to be a little bit easier just because they have similar, as you can tell, they have similar makeups here. Notice how 1/3 is exactly the same as 2/6. And the reason why that is because 3 is a multiple of 6. 6 is the least common multiple between 6 and 3. 3 is a factor of 6, and 6 is a factor of 6. Let me show you. So if we're talking about multiples, 3, 6, 9, 12. We can talk about 6, 12, 18. Notice how 12 and 6 are both multiples of the factors 3 and 6, but we're going to choose the smallest one, 6. 6 goes into 6, 3 goes into 6. So as we're trying to convert this into 6, we realize it can just stay the same. 1/3 though, we're trying to get that 6 in the denominator, we have to multiply the bottom by 2 and the top by 2. That's how we can see, okay, 1/3 is the same as 2/6. So if we have 2/3, that means we need double that for the, sorry, I wanted that to stay. We want double that for the amount of 6. So we know that 1/3 is 2/6. We're going to square 2 of those and 2 of those. Notice how now I have 5 total 6. 5 out of 6. And that would be what we would get. Oh, sorry, I put 2/3. 1/3. I meant 2/3 here. So let me change that number. Apologies. So that should be 4. I was like wondering what? Okay, so that should be 4. So we do 1/4, 1 over 6 plus 4 over 6. Add the tops, keep the denominator the same, 5 over 6. 5 over 6. Check it. All right, next question. Okay, 1/2 plus 3 over 7. This one's tough too because notice how this doesn't evenly cover the 7. So what we need to do here is I like to write it like this, 1 over 2, 3 over 7, and we're subtracting this time. What is the common denominator? What do both 2 and 7 both go into? They both go into 14. Okay, that's the smallest number both these go into. So now we say, okay, how do we get that denominator to 14? Well, I had to multiply by 7. 2 times 7. What I do to the bottom, got to do to the top. So we get 7 over 14 is the equivalent fraction for 1/2. And then I multiply this one by 2, so I have to multiply the top by 2 also. I get 6 out of 14. So I have 7 over 14 minus 6 over 14. Well, that's going to give me exactly 1 out of 14 left. So that's going to be my final answer. I did that one a little bit more quickly. That's the beginning problems were just the intro. This is kind of once you get going, that's how you do it. Okay, final problem. Okay, notice here that the ninths, 3 of the ninths combine to equal 1/3. Okay, that's because the least common multiple between the 3 and the 9 is 9. 9 is the least common multiple. 9 and 3 are both factors of 9, and that's the smallest number. Yes, they both go into 18, but 9 smaller, the least common multiple. Okay, so with that knowledge, we know this 1/3 is 3/9. So I can go over here and box 3 of these 9s. Okay, I'm just going to do this one visually. I'm not going to show you mathematically. I might show you. So now I have a total of how many 9s? Well, I had 5 before, 5 over 9, plus 3 over 9. Sorry, that's a 5. That's over 9. 3 over 9, and that equals 8 over 9. Okay, now if I were to do it over here this way, 1/3. Oh, it's subtraction. I'm so sorry. So I'm subtracting from 5/9, I'm subtracting 3 of them. My mistake. That would be if I was adding. So I'm subtracting 3 of these. I'm getting rid of them. So I'm only going to be left with 2/9. Okay, let me just show you how that works. 5 over 9, this one stays the same. 5 over 9, because it's already multiple, it'd be times 1 times 1. Okay, this one we multiply by 3 to have our denominator of 9. So what we do at the bottom, we also have to do the top, times 3. We would get 3 over 9, and we do 5 over 9 minus 3 over 9. Keep the bases the same, 9, subtract the top, 2. 2 over 9, and that's our final answer. 2 over 9. And that's it. Hope you guys liked this video. Hope you got 100% like it's play the music right there. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.